was in Iraq. He spent a year there. He got the Bronze Star. He got the Conspicuous Service Medal. He was not a loser. He was a patriot, and the people left behind there were heroes.
Really?
And I resent.
Are you talking about Hunter? Are you talking about Hunter?
I'm talking about my son, Bo Biden. You're talking about.
I don't know Bo. I know Hunter.
Yeah,
Hunter got thrown out of the military. He was thrown out, dishonorably discharged.
That's not true. It wasn't dishonorably.
Cocaine use. And he didn't have a job until you became vice president. And once you became vice president, he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
that is simply
and various
not
other places.
True.
He made a fortune.
My son.
And he didn't have a job.
My son, like a lot of people we know at home, had a drug problem. He's overtaken it. He's fixed it. He's worked on it, and I'm proud of him.
But why was he given tens of millions of dollars?
But he wasn't given tens of millions of dollars. That is totally discredited.
We've already been
totally discredited.
We've already been through this. I think the American.
A few years later.
So that's ridiculous. Really? Really? Who hasn't taken nudes? Now, I took a lot. Who hasn't taken nudes?
I have a question about Hunter Biden. He's on social media now, and he has suggested, maybe joking, I don't know, that he could run for president in 2028. How would he do, Hunter Biden, in a 2028 Democratic primary?
Well, you would think that, past has something to do with winning an election, and I would say his past is not the greatest. Where's Hunter? Remember my Where's Hunter? It became the #1 shirt anywhere in the world for about 3 weeks. I'm not going to say bad. I'm sure, hey, if the guy from Maine can do well, I guess Hunter could do well too. Because the guy from Maine is a basket case. Maybe Hunter can do well. I'm not sure. It'll be pretty close as far as I'm concerned.
What's up, family? Democrats just revealed the most embarrassing presidential ticket in American political history. And the mainstream media is actually defending it. So let me break this all the way down in plain English, real talk. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications, your post notifications so you don't miss a thing. And we're going to go through this together, family. Same clips, same commentary, but I'm going to break it down plain and simple so we all can see what's really going on here. Because the real question isn't whether Hunter Biden is funny on social media. The real question is whether the Democrat Party is genuinely this lost right now, or whether they're floating this thing on purpose to see if we'll just go along with it.
Biden is taking over X. If you live over on X like I do, you've seen it. President Biden's son, he's out there nonstop defending his dad. There's like these witty, quick comebacks, blasting critics, blunt, explicit, funny. It's something to watch. And Tom Foreman is out front.
When they go low, we go Hunter Biden. And I will not be explaining any further.
I can't do better than that. Yeah. Hunter Biden has entered the chat. The son of the former president, Joe Biden, has become the clapback king online after reactivating his X account. His posts are a mix of political attacks, hitting back at critics, personal reflection, and addressing his past addictions and controversies.
I know there are going to be a lot of haters, a lot of trolls, a lot of people saying really, really awful things. But I've heard it all before. It doesn't even faze me. I promise you. I know who I am. I know what I've done.
And I think it goes very much to what we were talking about earlier. We were talking about what was going on in Maine. I think people really enjoy the fact that he is so authentic, almost to the point where it's embarrassing. And yes, he is reopening perhaps some new old wounds, but he's saying, so what? This is what it is. What do you do when you say, you really are a horrible human? You're right, I am. There's no response to that. And I'm not saying that he's a horrible human.
Right.
Yeah. So you said no Democrats want him back, but I can think of some people do.
Yeah.
This is Hunter Biden on the Candace Owens podcast.
They had a problem with me as being this emblem of corruption. These guys, okay, Don Jr. got the single largest loan guarantee from the Department of Defense ever handed out of over $600 million for an energy company, a fusion energy company, of which he has zero experience in.
He's not going to any random place, right? He's going to Candace Owens, who's in the middle of a massive brawl, so to speak, with TPUSA.
Candace Owens has been platforming people that have spewed stuff that is egregiously false and controversial and insulting to a lot of people, and I don't think she's someone that should be platformed. I'm going to take this interview with a grain of salt. I think when it comes to Hunter Biden, I will say something that appeals to younger people is that level of honesty. You know, he said, look, if those were my drugs at the White House, you think I'd leave them there?
By the way, he's not even managing our expectations. He's letting us know that he's going to be that problematic fave, as they say.
Yes.
And people will enjoy it, and they'll go to him, and they're like, I don't know why I enjoy it, but I simply do.
Okay.
I was a crack addict. Like, I was a degenerate crack addict. I mean, call me a crackhead many times, and the truth of the matter is,
Yeah.
And I say that not to shock people, because it's really shocking. Crack cocaine carries such a stigma to it to begin with. But I say it because I think that there are so many people. I know there are so many people. I think that there's, at any given time, 30 million Americans that are either in active addiction or in recovery. There's not a single person that I know that hasn't been impacted by addiction at some level, in some form, personally, or with someone that is 1 degree of separation from them that they love. No one that I know.
Least of all me.
Yeah, and part of that, one of the reasons I'm here, the stories that you tell about that in terms of
My family.
your family, and
What's your opinion on Kamala then? Did you like her?
Look,
like you didn't. You definitely didn't.
You know what I did, and I don't want to say anything. I didn't know the vice president that well.
Okay.
I mean, and she was always nice to me personally, and so that was my, but I didn't have the other thing that people think, that I was like living at the White House. I literally didn't leave my home because it was really hard to leave. I stayed, in the hill that I lived on until the fires came. That's where I was. I was with Bo and Melissa, and
Why nobody told me how unhinged Hunter Biden was? Because tell me why somebody asked him, that was like, didn't you leave some crack in the White House? Hunter Biden said, never in my years of smoking crack would I have ever left some crack behind. Hunter Biden said that he consumed all the crack he could have consumed. He never left no crack unconsumed. Like, I don't know why they would think that they could try to shame Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden said he not ashamed that he smoked crack. Like, he not even offended that he was smoking crack. He's more offended that y'all would think that he would leave some crack behind. Hunter Biden said, listen, he ain't never did no shit like that, okay? All the crack he consumed that, okay? Ain't no leftover crack nowhere, okay? Who y'all need to be questioning is that man, that Secretary of Health and Human Services, the one that said that he was snorting it off of toilet seats. That's probably who crack it was, okay? Hunter Biden said, if y'all gonna speak on his name, speak on it correctly, okay? Listen, Hunter Biden ain't never left no crack behind.
We talk about Hunter Biden. He is an absolute menace on Twitter right now. He came up with a campaign slogan for himself. He said, a vote for Hunter is a crack to the system.
Wait, so is he wanting to run for president in the future?
No, I think someone is telling him to run. He is very honest about his past, and I think that's very, very refreshing to people, because a lot of Democrats resort to online purity politics, and we want people to be perfect, but no one is. And Hunter Biden is someone who I would listen to because I would trust him, because he's so honest about himself.
I have seen his responses, and I would vote for Hunter Biden 10,000 feet deep into a relapse before I would ever vote for a Republican. Like, he might be cracked out sometimes, but he can crack a joke. I give him that.
After this week, Hunter Biden might actually run for president in 2028. We even got Trump now posting about Hunter Biden because he was asked about Hunter Biden's prospects in the Oval Office yesterday. And yesterday, Hunter actually hinted at possibly running, and this morning, about 10 minutes ago, he posted this list of what Americans, most Americans, can agree on, and I agree with the majority of this list. Like, very basic shit that doesn't involve the hatred, the dehumanization of other people. Basic list of things that actually affect Americans' lives. And this was the rest of that same post. Very basic things that I think the majority of Americans can just flat out agree on. Doesn't include the hatred. the freedom of religion. Epstein class is the bad class. But at the very bottom, he talks about the things that they want us all to fight about. They want in the news story. His laptop, vaccine denial. They talk about the transgender in sports, things that don't impact the heavy 99% of Americans. That's what they want you to fight over. So look, I don't know if Hunter Biden will run for president in 2028, but what I'm saying now is he is unapologetically throwing out all of his demons, because we all know his demons. They can't attack him for anything like that. He is unapologetically just talking about things that impact American lives. He might have a shot.
Hunter Biden is absolutely cooking these motherfuckers. He's funny, right? He's cooking these motherfuckers. He's fucking SpongeBob SquarePants fry cooking these motherfuckers. He's like, yeah, fucking fresh orange chicken on the walk, Panda Express fucking cooking these guys. I'm talking about heating these motherfuckers up like a beef and broccoli lean cuisine. He's absolutely going, he's funny, right? He's fun. I don't make the rules. He's funny. He's likable. He has the intangibles. I don't know what the fuck is up with the background, but he's kind of like Tom Brady, right? Where, you know, you look at him at the combine, right? You look at him, you're like, this guy, you know, a typical run-of-the-mill politician, Nepo baby. But this motherfucker gets on the field and balls out. And obviously the field being X, you know, for this example. But yeah, he's funny, right? And I think that's because maybe he's a little more relatable than the Trumps, you know, because maybe some people have been through what he's been through. He's just funny, perfect comedic timing. I don't make the rules, right? He's just more relatable, right? Maybe some people have, you know, strapped the GoPro to the head with banging hookers. You know what I mean? It's fucking, you know, he's a degenerate. A lot of guys can, you know what I mean? But, you know, on the other hand, you have like the Ivanka Trump talking about how she's fucking buying a private island and building a house and acting like that's relatable to the rest of Americans, which it isn't.
So let's go back to where this story really starts. You guys seen in the first clip the moment from the 2020 presidential debate that a lot of people remember. But I want to break it down a little differently than you might have heard before. Joe Biden is on that stage talking about his son, Beau, a man who served in Iraq, earned the Bronze Star, and passed away from brain cancer. And look, that's a father showing pride in his child. Understand that. Nobody's taking that away from him. But Trump stopped him mid-sentence and he said, and I quote, "I'm not talking about Beau, I know Hunter." And right there, the whole conversation shifted. Trump's point was this: Hunter got discharged from the military not honorably, and before his father became vice president of the United States, Hunter didn't have much of a work history to speak of. Then the moment Joe Biden stepped into one of the most powerful offices in the country, almost overnight, Hunter starts making serious money in Ukraine, in China, and other places that raise real questions when you sit down and think about it. Joe Biden's response was to say Hunter had a drug problem and worked through it. And family, I want to be fair here. That part is real. Addiction touches a lot of households. A lot of people watching this right now either know someone dealing with it or have dealt with it personally. That's not something to mock. That's something to acknowledge with compassion. But compassion for addiction doesn't answer the bigger question. Why was a man with no real professional track record suddenly in rooms where serious money was changing hands? And why did that only start happening the second his last name became the most viable last name in Washington? That's the pattern worth paying attention to. Not just Hunter specifically, but what it tells you about how power actually moves, right? It's not always about what you know or what you built. Sometimes it's just about who your father is and what office he holds. And when that's the case, regular people end up on the outside looking in while the sons and daughters of the powerful get doors open that the rest of us doesn't even know exist. Plant that thought and we'll come back to it. But fast forward to right now, Hunter Biden gets back on social media and the internet lights up. He's posting nonstop. He's clapping back at critics. He's cracking jokes about his past in a way that people weren't expecting. And CNN, as you guys heard, called him the clapback king, quote unquote. Commentators start using words like authentic and refreshing. Now, to be fair, there's something to that. It doesn't take a certain kind of courage to stand in front of people who have already made up their minds about you and just own your story anyway. And again, a lot of Americans connect to the struggle of addiction. That piece is real. I'm not going to dismiss it, but here's where it starts to fall apart for me, family. Hunter posts this list, things Americans can all agree on, things that affect everyday people's lives. Good energy, right? But then he adds this line about the Epstein elite oligarch class, quote unquote, dividing us. This is the list on the screen. The rich and powerful, as he would mention, keeping regular people at each other's throats while they get fat off of our misery. Think about it in simple terms. Hunter Biden is the son of a career senator, a former vice president, and a former president of the United States. He received what legal experts describe as one of the most broadest presidential pardons in American history. That pardon came from his own father before leaving office. So when Hunter points his finger at the elite class, he is pointing at himself. You can't smoke crack in a motel off the interstate and call yourself a man of the people when your last name is the reason you never once had to worry about where your next meal is coming from or whether the lights stay on. The flood under Hunter Biden's worst day is still higher than the ceiling for a lot of hardworking families in this country. And his campaign slogan, and yes, he actually floated one, was, and I quote, "A vote for Hunter is a crack to the system." Funny, sure, I'll give him that, but funny isn't the same as ready. A joke about your own addiction isn't a platform. The same media that hyped this up as quote unquote relatable is the same media that spent years looking the other way when the same media that hyped this up as quote unquote relatable is the same media that spent years looking the other way when real working class struggles weren't generating enough clicks. All right? So I want you guys to see the post in regards of what he's been saying. What the F timeline are we on? Someone called me the MAGA whisperer. And I'll gladly take the title. Left, right, Democrat or Republican. We all want the same things. We are being divided on purpose by the Epstein elite oligarch class. Because as long as we are at each other's throats, they get fat and rich off our misery. The second we figure out we agree on more than we disagree, they are done. Love your neighbor, be yourself, radical honesty, no F's given, no F's taken. Everything else is just noise, but still F Jake, quote unquote, Brick Tameland, Tapper on any timeline. He's talking about Jake Tapper on CNN. Now, this takes me to, here's where it really gets interesting, family, because this stopped being just a social media moment the second Gavin Newsom got involved. Gavin Newsom gets on camera and introduces Hunter Biden as, and I want you to hear this exactly, and I quote, presidential candidate Hunter Biden 2028. They both laughed. The room laughed. And maybe you'll laugh too. But when a sitting governor with presidential ambitions puts that title in front of your name, even as a joke, the seed is planted. That's how these things work. And Hunter's response, I'll let you guys see that for yourself.
I'm joined today by presidential candidate Hunter Biden, 2028. Come on, Hunter. What's going on?
No.
You got more buzz out there than you got the President of the United States, Donald Trump, talking about your candidacy for President of the United States.
I had to give you a break for just one day at least. Here's the deal. I'll run, but only as your VP, because the truth of the matter is the vice president's residence is a lot cooler. It's a lot easier job too.
So there you have it. Right? And then we go back to this post, and I also wanted you to see something else. Because Kenneth L. Belkin, he said, excuse me, but aren't you decidedly part of the elite oligarch class? You are the son of a career senator, former VP, and president who received the most legally overbroad pardon, which may not even be constitutional in the history of the United States. Sounds pretty effing elite to me. Hunter Biden says, do I look like I'm a part of the elite oligarch class? This was taken at a Super 8 motel off I-95, by the way. And there you have it, folks. So, as you guys see, Hunter Biden in his X post you guys seen now Gavin Newsom talking with Hunter Biden on his podcast instead of running California, which seems to not be his priority because they both seem to have bigger ambitions, or I should say, bigger agendas. But when you look at that, right, he said, as Hunter's response was, he'll run, but only as Newsom's VP because the vice president's residence is cooler and it's an easier job. Family, sit with that for a second. A man is describing the second highest office in the United States as a lifestyle preference, not a calling, not a responsibility, a real estate upgrade with a lighter workload. That's how he talked about the office that puts you one heartbeat away from leading the most powerful country on earth. Now, I want to talk about Gavin Newsom because he doesn't get a pass here just because he's the one doing the introduction. This is a man who has been governor of California, one of the wealthiest states in the country, with every advantage you could ask for. And under his leadership, homelessness has gotten worse, not better. The cost of living has pushed working families out of cities they grew up in. Businesses packed up and moved to other states because the math stopped making sense. These aren't opinions. These are the conditions on the ground for real people who live there. So what we're actually looking at is this. A man with a presidential pardon in his pocket, a trail of legal trouble behind him, and a history of making money off his father's name, running alongside a governor whose own track record raises serious questions about whether he can manage a state, let alone a country. And the media is calling this the dream ticket. And I'm not here to tell you what to think, family. I mean that. But I will read you something. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2 says, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people groan." Now, I'm not calling anyone wicked by name. What I am saying is that character matters in leadership. It has always mattered. The question worth asking before you give anyone your vote is simple. Have they actually demonstrated they can run something responsibly? Not on social media, not in a podcast interview, in real life with real consequences for real people. Because a viral moment is not a record. A clapback is not a policy. And a joke about your own past doesn't tell me anything about what you'll do when the economy tightens and families are struggling to hold things together. At the end of the day, when a major political party's best answer for 2028 looks like this is where they are right now. Not what they're pretending to be, where they actually are. And the American people are watching closer than the people in those rooms seem to think. The thing about this whole situation is that it assumes you are not paying attention. It assumes that funny and familiar is the same thing as trustworthy and capable. It's not, never has been. So I'm asking you to do what you always do, family. Think for yourself. Look at the record. Hold every candidate to the same standard, left or right, because your vote is serious and your life depends on serious decisions being made by serious people. Keep your discernment sharp. That's the word for today. Drop a comment and let me know what you think about all of this. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your post notifications so you never miss a breakdown. Spread the peace, love, and positivity. Let the love supersede the hate, family. On that note, family, peace.